single protocol that works again, and so we can have those conversations starting at any time, where we can. It really depends on how you'd like us to work through those documents.
As we get the request, I'm sure council will decide whether it's a staff report, or it comes here to the public.
Yeah.
Councillor Bonski?
Just a couple of quickies. Is your community vibrancy fund agreement a boilerplate as well?
We actually don't have a vibrancy fund.
Oh, okay.
As Suncor, we're a global energy company, and we have a variety of ways in which we like to contribute to the communities where we operate. We have a formal charitable organization called the Suncor Energy Foundation, and that is primarily designed to provide funding for education, communities, and with a particular energy focus. And so that foundation would be available for individuals or organizations to look to provide funding, but we haven't ever entered into a vibrancy fund before. This is a new concept that we have just learned about. Suncor has 6 operating wind farms across Canada, and we typically like to promote and look for ways in which we can develop energy and energy future through technology, research and development, education, and things like that.
And just my favorite question, you know what I'm going to ask you, don't you?
I don't know.
How much does it cost to produce 1 kilowatt-hour of wind power?
Well, that changes quite a bit, but and you say kilowatt hours. Typically, the units that developers look at is the cost per kilowatt, which is the capital cost of the wind farm, divided by the amount of nameplate megawatts are going in there, changed to kilowatts, and that's about $2,800 to $3,000 a kilowatt.
So you gave me an answer.
So, for example, that changes year to year because turbine manufacturing prices go up and down with the commodities. But, for example, it's public, our Ripley wind farm in Kincardine was $176 million, and it is a 76 megawatt facility for 76,000 kilowatts.
So it's a lot, isn't it? It's an expensive proposition, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Councillor Scott?
I asked the other groups, I'm going to ask you too. What are you going to do once the lifespan of a windmill is done? Are you going to come back and take it out?
Well, there's 2 or 3 avenues to look at that stage. The main component that needs replacing at that age, I'm assuming you're considering 20 years down the road or 25, is the tower. And the tower may need to be replaced, and components within the head of the machine may need to be replaced. So a developer would typically look at, can we first and foremost replace parts, towers, etc., leave the machine head in place and replace, what is the cost of that, and how can we repower, or not repower, but extend the life in the operation of the facility. Assuming that isn't feasible, the next step would be to look to repower the site, which means dismantling the existing turbines, and should the contract be available at that time with the Ontario government, rebuilding newer turbines into place and continuing operating. Then the third option to a developer at that stage would be to take the equipment down, sell the equipment such as gearboxes or blades may have differing lifespans. They may need to be replaced over the 20 years. So if there is a market for used blades at another facility that's not ready to be, there's a cash incentive for a developer to sell those components with life in them to another wind farm in North America, for example. So shipping is reasonable. But the rest, the tower, the steel in the tower, all that would be salvaged and sold for.
Is it your company that goes back and does that?
It's our intention it would be our company, yes.
So if in 20 years, the windmills all of a sudden were, okay, you know, they're done.
Yep.
We're not gonna put any more up, you would come
Yep.
in, take them away from the farm or land that they were on. Would you take the gravel and all the stuff that you'd put in and return that to farmland?
Yeah, that's the intention. So we would, our agreements would take the gravel roads out,
And of course, all the wires and all those things you had buried as well.
correct.
How about
There-
the foundation?
That's okay, just,
And I was gonna continue the foundation. It's in our agreement that we take it to a meter or, you know, maybe it's 1.5 meters to whatever workable depth is required for agriculture
okay,
and drainage tile, etc.
Councilor Russell?
Thanks for coming. Question for you, I think you're probably the one answering it. When you dealt with Plimpton Council,
Yep.
and what's your dynamic on their 2 kilometer setback requirements and their,
Well, we weren't pleased when they
soon,
announced the 2 kilometer setback. The roads are typically 2 kilometers, which makes it very difficult to develop under that regime. It is a planning regime that is currently, the hat is with the province to decide what setbacks those are. We want to work with municipality, and I personally worked with Plimpton, Wyoming to develop their past historic setbacks of 400 meters from residences and et cetera. And, you know, I was surprised when that came forth. It wasn't confident, so.
so what's your strategy to deal with it?
Our strategy is to continue to discuss with them. Obviously, it identifies a concern, and I mean, it's not our intention to force things down people's throats, but it identifies an issue, and we're looking to continually meet with that council to understand what was the root cause for that action.
So similar timeline with the REA that they have with you, same probably right now, similar?
We have the same, yeah,
Exactly the same.
yeah, it's the same project, it straddles the border.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the constraints that you're just talking about right now, are they going to change your REA? Anticipated REA?
We don't see that it would, no.
So your strategy will be, generally speaking, to talk to them, but ignore what they're suggesting?
That isn't what I'm saying, but it is to talk with them and, yes, discuss what are the issues. Not just putting a 2 kilometer setback
How
out
about
there
health?
doesn't tell me, you know, why you're concerned about wind. If you can come and say, and I've told them, like, if there is, you know, where are the bookends? One's 2 kilometers or no wind turbines at all, and I'm here because I want to place turbines, and it's a discussion. That being said, you know, the Green Energy Act, there is those avenues to have the province step in.
So further to that discussion then, so if a similar type of thing was to be brought in front of you from another municipality, I won't mention any right now, but we'll just say that it happened, right?
Yeah.
Would that then get your attention to the point of discussing it in terms of the amount and the setbacks and all
Well, I
the
hope we
concerns?
would discuss it prior to that being released.
That's a good point, I understand, because you don't go to negative from a negative, you gotta
Right.
build on a positive, so the point is it's a matter for discussion.
Yeah.
But in the end, if the discussion doesn't work, the provincial law prevails, is what you're saying?
I'm saying that avenue is available.
Answer the question.
So-
Councilor Underwood?
Yeah, okay, I asked the other group next door about economic development in local areas, whether or not they're looking at possibly having some sort of maintenance facilities or anything in the Lambton Shores area. Are you guys looking down that road as well, or is that all cut out, or?
Well, we would consider, we will require a maintenance facility in conjunction with our 2 projects, the one in Middlesex and the one in Lambton. The larger project would be here if everything was successful. So it does warrant discussions around the ownership of a facility where we would run our